request on my Instagram about the healthy banana bread recipe. I did not make it up. I've tried a couple versions. I got this one from healthyfitnessmeals.com and I absolutely love it. It's called protein doughnuts, but I like to make muffins and they're great snacks on the go, and it also satisfies our sweet tooth. So there's no added sugar, no added flour, it's coconut flour. So I hope you guys enjoy the recipe as much as we do. So I'm gonna share it with you today. The first couple things that you're gonna need, it doesn't require a whole lot of ingredients. We don't need a cutting board. I don't know, I have this out. But you're gonna need 2 bananas. So I don't wanna break my eggs. So 2 bananas. I always go to the grocery store and I hunt for the ones that are more ripe, and then I leave them sit for 2 or 3 days so they get nice and soft. The riper they are, the sweeter they will be. From there, 2 eggs. These are 2 large eggs. Almond butter. Whoops. Coconut oil. And then protein, coconut flour, baking soda, and baking powder. And that's really all that you need. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make this recipe. Alright guys, so step 1, you're gonna mash the bananas. I'm using a blender or a KitchenAid mixer. It's not a blender, but you could use a blender or a food processor. Anything that's gonna make the ingredients smooth. So I'm gonna put my first banana in, and then I'm gonna turn it on, and I'm just gonna start mashing it. So I want the banana to become nice and smooth. You may notice I open my bananas kind of funny. I remember I was in 3rd grade. I used to always have to go up to the principal and ask her to open my banana because I could never get it, and she showed me how to open them from the bottom, and I've done that ever since. So if you struggle opening your bananas, try it from the bottom. It works so much better. Next, we're gonna add our eggs. So 2 eggs. So all I'm doing is cracking on the side, dumping it right in. I added them both at the same time. I'm gonna turn the mixer on and just let it blend together before I add the almond butter. Once the eggs and bananas have blended together, we're gonna add in 1/4 cup of almond butter. I think the key is make sure you check your labels. So we wanna make sure there's no added palm oil, no added sugar, because a lot of these kinds of foods, nut butters, they will hide it in the label. So I got this one from Costco. I got the big one because I love to bake with it. It's also a little bit cheaper, and the only ingredient is roasted almonds. So that way it doesn't have all of those added sweeteners, so we're keeping it as healthy as possible. Our next ingredient is gonna be coconut oil. So the key here is gonna be make sure it's melted. So I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons, try to make it as level as possible. I am using my almond butter spoon. It's all gonna be mixed together anyway, so it doesn't matter. So there's 1, take a second one. Coconut oil usually comes right out, so it's pretty level. So I'm gonna do 2 of those, put it in a bowl. And then I'm gonna put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds until it's melted. Then I'm gonna add it to the mixer. So once it's melted, so it just looks like liquid and just dumps right in. Now I'm gonna mix all of that together. So you want it to make sure that is fully melted, otherwise it's gonna be a little bit chunky. So it should look clear and run out of the bowl just like I just showed you. So we're just gonna mix it together till it's well mixed. We're almost done. So once you mix that together, I would say 1 to 2 minutes. You wanna make sure it's really smooth. The smoother, the better. So whether it's in the mixer, the food processor, the consistency should look very thin and not super chunky. Once that happens, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take 3 tablespoons of coconut flour. So I've got my tablespoon. So again, just as level as possible. So there's 1. You're gonna add this all together. I just do it in the mixer, so I don't have to get another bowl dirty and clean anything else. There's 2, 1 more, and then I'm making a mess. There's 3. Before I mix anything else, I'm gonna add the rest of the dry ingredients. So what I've chose to use, I've done this with chocolate and vanilla, and I've also used isolate protein, so a faster digesting protein, and then more of a casein or slower digesting. I like the vanilla and I like the slower digesting. So I choose to use the vanilla ice cream level 1 from First Form. I think it gives it the best consistency. So you're gonna put in an entire scoop. If you don't have First Form, you don't have vanilla ice cream, I would just use a vanilla whey protein if I were you. So I'm gonna put in an entire scoop. Close that. And then from there, this is what gives it the fluffiness. So we're gonna take a half of a teaspoon of baking powder. Make sure this is really level. We don't wanna overdo that. So 1/2 a teaspoon of baking powder, and then also 1/2 a teaspoon of baking soda. There we go. Dump that in. Once all of those are in together, we're gonna mix it, and that is all of the ingredients. So the consistency now will be a little bit thicker, more like a muffin batter. So once I've let it mix together for another minute or two, I just check the consistency. So it should be a little bit thicker to where it doesn't run right off your spatula, and it's kind of sticky, but it's not chunky, so it's still smooth. I think that's a really good thing to check for, is just making sure everything is well mixed together. So from here, all we're gonna do is fill our muffin cups, and then we're gonna place it in the oven. What I did forget to mention at the beginning of the video was start your oven preheating while you're combining everything. So I set my oven to 350 degrees, and then I started combining all the ingredients. So now that it's ready, once I fill my cups, I can pop them right into the oven. So I'm using Pam baking made with flour. Probably not the best. Usually I would use muffin cups, but I don't really have enough. So I'm gonna use this for today, and then I'm gonna remember to go get my cupcake cup so I don't have to use it. But basically we just don't want it to stick to the pan. So whatever you have that's nonstick that you feel comfortable using, go ahead and use that. But I'm gonna shake it, and then I'm just gonna spray my pan. So spraying it. I just kind of go straight over the entire pan to make sure I cover everything. So spraying that, and now I'm good to go ahead and load my batter into the muffin pan. So when I use it, I try to avoid touching it with my fingers because it makes me want to lick them, and that's not good, and that's kind of gross. So I use this 1/8 of a cup, so that way I know it's consistent across all of them. And then I typically use like a teaspoon or a spoon to help me get it out. So I'm just gonna go right in here, fill it up enough, and then I'm just gonna dump it right in. And you can see the consistency is pretty fluid, but it's not runny. It's thick, it's not super chunky, it's a little bit sticky. So I'm just filling my muffin cups about 2/3 of the way because this will expand due to the baking soda and the baking powder. So you wanna make sure to not fill them to the top from the start. If you do, you will have some gigantic muffins. That beeping means my oven is finally preheated. So they're technically done. So if you take a look, we have our banana bread muffins, and they're freaking delicious. If you want to be super healthy, I would leave them as they are. Do not do the next step that I'm about to do. If you're looking for this to fill your void of a tasty treat, and you just want something a little bit sweeter, what you can do is take some semi-sweet chocolate chips, and you can take some heavy cream. I know this is dairy, I don't do a ton of dairy, but it just gives it a little extra flavor. So I'm gonna take 3 tablespoons of my heavy cream. So 2 to 3, I'm gonna do 3. 2, and then we're gonna microwave it. And we're gonna microwave it till it's almost bubbling, or not quite boiling, but super, super hot. So 3 tablespoons, so about a minute. So I'm gonna add in about a 1/2 cup of semi-sweet. I have the mini chips. It doesn't matter if they're mini or if they're regular, but about a 1/2 cup, dump it in. Then the cream was nice and hot, so the chips will melt. And it's gonna make this really delicious, not overly sweet, kind of like an icing that we're gonna put on top of the muffins once they're cooled. The chips mix in with the cream. I actually only microwaved the cream for about 35 seconds till it was nice and hot. So the chips mixed right in. You can see I have this delicious icing like chocolate. So you can either pour it on them, or I like to dip them. So I'll just flip it over once the muffins are cooled, of course, because otherwise the chocolate will run right off. You can see it's nice and thick, and it's just gonna hang out right on the muffin. It smells so good. So this will be Patrick and our cheat dessert. I don't like to say cheat, but dessert throughout the week. If we need something sweet, it's better than going and getting a ton of chocolate chip cookies, or I don't know, stuff loaded with tons of sugar and processed flour. And then to make them fun, if you saw my Instagram post a couple weeks back, I added sprinkles. So I love sprinkles. They do make a little bit of a mess, but once you put the chocolate on, you can just add a few sprinkles to them, or you can leave one sprinkle free if you have somebody who doesn't really love sprinkles. So here, excuse me. So here I have one with chocolate, I have one with sprinkles, and then I have one with no chocolate. So we have all different kinds of variations, and they're all super delicious. I absolutely love these muffins. I hope you guys have enjoyed this recipe. I got a lot of requests for it. This is definitely something that Patrick and I have thoroughly enjoyed as we've continued to work on cleaning up our eating. As far as macros go, they have really clean, great ingredients. Obviously, if you leave out the chocolate chips and the heavy cream, it's gonna be even better for you. Probably under 5 grams of sugar. We'll post the macros for them. But I just love that there's no added sugar, there's no coconut sugar, there's no honey, anything like that. It's just clean, good, delicious ingredients, so it's not overly sweet. And when you do clean up your diet, you'll find that you don't crave those overly sweet things anymore, so this is enough to satisfy us. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want to see more recipes like this, let us know. I love to bake, I love to find healthy recipes, I love to just experiment in the kitchen. And I told you before, I tried this many different ways. I tried chocolate protein, I tried vanilla, I tried faster absorbing protein, I tried slower, and this to me has been the best recipe. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you like, make sure you comment. If there's anything you want to see in the future, let us know, and have a great day.